One of the topics that can be a focus in Term 3 in Australia will be creation, particularly in the lower primary years, kindergarten, year 1. And this presentation is just a bit of an explanation of the creation kit that is available for those people who have it. Those who don't have it, will give them ideas what can be created around the concept of creation. And in this package we have these materials presented, packaged in a box. These are the elements. A core element is this one. So this is actually an expanding chart. And of course, for the camera today, I don't have the room to lay it out. I'm just going to show you what's involved in this. It's got the opening section, and of course then things unravel. So then we have, I'm going to put it here. Can I put it here? A focus on the galaxies and the planets, the rocks and the minerals. Then the and then the seas and what the seas contain, and the land and what it grows, or what the land and what grows in the land. Then a focus on the animals, and then human beings coming into creation. There's a blank page here that symbolizes a long time passing until the Christ comes, the redemption. Then we have an empty, these refer to the boxes that you'll see shortly, an empty box, because this actually denotes our lives and how we contribute. And the final picture here denotes the end of time, Parousia. So of course these all unfold to make a great long chart which the children will enjoy populating and thinking about and finding out about. Another element that you have included is the booklet which guides the teacher through the presentation, especially focused on ES1 and S1 in Australia, which is like kindergarten, year 1 and year 2. Also included in the kit are little cards that will be used when you're presenting the different moments of creation, and they will be placed along the chart. And this is just a reminder page of what is contained in all these boxes. So I'm just going to unpack that for you a little bit shortly. Other additions at this point in time, at the moment, is one of the volumes of a series of books written by Olga de Souza, which focuses on an ABC of animals, different animals. So each box will have a different book in it, actually, and offering some information about it. You can look at this in your own time. And also the second part of the book has activities for the children, which can be very useful. I've also included, usually, is just a chart which focuses on the precious gems and crystals, in case these are included in the selection that you have or have been able to acquire and add to the kit. The boxes are numbered. So this is box 1, and it has mainly images relating to the universe, the creation of the universe. Box number 2 focuses on or includes those precious stones that can be found in the world, and they are in box 2. In box 3, what do we have? Box 3 is focusing on what we find in the sea. Box 4 is going to focus on plants. There's a few boxes for plants. These are for flowers and various plants or greenery. This is also a box number 6, relating to things that are used by mankind for useful purposes, either for fragrance or for growing things. And there are some samples of various elements here. For example, a miniature set of grapes there, and things that can be made from nature's plants. And then another box focuses also on what grows that has fragrance. So there are various things that one can touch and smell, which the children will enjoy. The next one focuses on the animals that we find, and each box might have different things in it, but they often have a couple of these little birds that children really love to kind of put on their finger, and a few other animals included in there. The next box has images of human beings. This is when creation of man comes into play. Next box number 9, items related to the redemption. And the last box, box 10, is actually an empty box. And this is where the students might bring in their own pictures to include into that box at the right moment. So there we have the various elements of this presentation. Now I'm going to have a little look in the booklet. I won't be able to do the entire presentation, but just show you how it proceeds. So we have the core concepts, and in this case it says, when God created the world, God filled it with wonderful things as gifts for human beings. He did this over a long period of time. These long periods the Bible describes as days. God himself created the visible world in all its richness, diversity, and order. And that's a point from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And this next one is another point from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. The world began when God drew it out of nothingness. Time began at that moment. So it's actually, there's a lot of information packed in that one set of doctrinal points that kind of would orientate you as a teacher. And the point that I've emphasized here in this particular booklet is, one of the points, is that creation took place, it seems, over a long period of time. That's the usual accepted concept. And it's interesting to realize that the word days in the Bible signifies periods of time more than just a day and a night into the next day. So the booklet tells you what you do have in the kit and some information for the teacher. So for the teacher, for each section of the gifts strip, there are pictures and items that represent the vast array and the variety of gifts from God throughout time. They reveal the great love of God for his people, from the beginning of time, creation, through to the greatest gift of himself in Jesus, the redemption, and on to parousia, the end of time, when God will be all in all and God's kingdom will have no end. All these gifts reflect God's covenant and invite a natural response of awe, joy, and delight. So, introduce each section with the appropriate card. Do this over several sessions, with pondering choices separating each new introduction. A suggestion is made for the division of these sessions. However, they may be fewer if appropriate. If possible, have the whole length displayed throughout the weeks when this is the focus of the learning, facilitating pondering in choice times. So, for example, the chart could be laid out on a bench top or along the floor against a wall or pinned up onto a wall somehow. So these are various suggestions of how to do it. The presentation indicates what one needs to say and do. And it's indicating here what you need to actually say and what you need to do. So you read and place the opening card, which says, "When God created the world, He filled it with wonderful things as gifts for human beings. The history of the gifts of God to all people is told in the Bible." That's the first opening statement. You place it down and you place at this point the miniature Bible, which is included, or it could be a full-sized Bible if you like. In the vast heavens, planets and moons orbit, and the stars shine, lighting up the earth from immense distances. So this is where you would have the chart actually open, and you can see that it says here on the chart, box 1. That's to help the teachers really easily turn to the right box. Planets and galaxies. And that's when you place that card that you have just read, it says box 1 as well, in front of that part of the chart, and you take the box, open the box, and remove the images, and you'll place them suitably around, on top of, beside, underneath the part of the chart that refers to that. I should say too that every kit has a set of little dishes that can be placed when any particular item is a set of items is being introduced, and that's where they can be deposited. Now, normally I wouldn't have all of these out here, for example. I'm just having them here for filming purposes, but normally they would be out of the way. You're just putting each box from the side of wherever you have them, and so there's a clear space for the children to see all of this. In the mineral world, God created with His power and wisdom the rocks and the stones and the metals. This is where you would place this card close to the chart at that appropriate place, and then you would present what's inside. Let's see what God's gifts are. This is where you have to ad-lib a bit and know how to engage your children. Precious metals. And interesting stones and rocks. We have samples of that here. And here are some samples of what could be thought of as precious stones. It just reminds us of what precious stones might be like. There we go. And so on. Now, just to introduce one more card. Where are my cards? And then, in the depths of the sea, God created vegetation and shell creatures. Here's box 3. What do we have here? Oh my goodness. So imagine that you're stretched out here and there is room. And you're going to bring out some of these. Oh, look at that. I wonder what that is. Sea urchins and starfish. And the kind of plants that grow under the sea, etc. And so it goes on, describing what is in each one of the boxes. It's not that you do all of this in one hit. If you have the program that matches this, you'll realize how it can be focused on in various lessons. So you're just introducing 1 or 2 boxes at a time and then exploring those concepts through work that you provide for the children.